I hate to frame this video the way I'm about to frame it, but to be honest, I gotta frame it this way. And the way I'm gonna frame it is how manipulative women can be. We hear this time and time again on social media that men are manipulative. Men use their money to manipulate you. They use their age and their wisdom to manipulate you. But women are also manipulative. A few years ago, I was visiting Florida. I lived in a different state, and I ran into this woman. I took her to dinner. We had a good time. The dinner went well. I ended up going back to her place, and things were going so well that it was really confusing how it was seeming like we were progressing towards being physical, but then there would be this weird hesitancy. So I kept kind of trying to figure out what the situation is, because it's like one of those moments where you know you vibe with somebody really well. You guys are both attracted to each other. And yeah, it's the first night meeting her, but she didn't give me the vibes of the type of person who would object even though it's the first night. And I'm good at feeling these things out and kind of sniffing it out. So I had a feeling that there was a different reason why she didn't want to be physical or get intimate. So throughout the night I kept probing, I kept kind of asking questions. And the reason I felt like it was odd was because she would tell me how bad she wants to do it, but she can't. And I'm like, if you want to do it so bad, then what could it possibly be? And at the time I hadn't had any experiences like this, so I've never had any kind of STD scare, or I've never ran into a woman with anything. But this particular woman, she was just giving me some odd vibes, like, you're really into it, I'm into it, but for some reason you refuse to take it all the way there. And you're doing everything else but taking it all the way there. And you've already taken it so far that, I mean, what's the point? You might as well take it all the way there, if you guys know what I mean. So it just couldn't happen. I just couldn't close that deal. And in my mind, I just couldn't figure out what it was. It was a pretty shitty feeling, because I was like, damn, we both wanted, we were both in the moment. We had a really good date. The only thing that was not perfect was that I was only visiting. So I figured that might be a part of the problem. She knew I was visiting, so obviously it's going to be like a one off situation. And I'm going back to Arizona, so I'm not going to be here. But she just seemed like too into it for that to be the reason why she didn't. Long story short, I'll fast forward a little bit. We didn't end up doing anything. We just ended up doing everything but the intimate part. And then I go back to Arizona, and this girl messages me and tells me she has genital herpes. Now, that scared the hell out of me, obviously, right? So immediately I go and I get tested. I've been tested multiple times, didn't get anything. But that really shook up my world, because I thought about the fact that we went on a date, we spent time together. You never expressed to me that you had herpes. You never expressed to me that, hey, before you spend your money, I just want you to know that I would never be able to be with you unless you accept this one major part about me. And I feel like that would be the respectful thing to do, is to let every man know before they invest in you that you have this thing that you can't get rid of, that you got from your previous relationships. She even ended up telling me that she was with her ex while she had herpes, and all she has to do is take the medicine, and it won't be a problem, because as long as you're taking the medicine and there's no flare ups, you'll be fine. And then if there's no flare up, then you can't contract it. And I'm just like, listen, from someone who doesn't have this, maybe your ex was cool with this is too risky for me to deal with. So I ended the communication there. And I was already in Arizona at the point, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But it was just a super scary situation. Like, consider the fact that you're on a date with this woman, you got her on a pedestal. Not that I did, but it's possible. You can pedestalize a woman on a date and look at them as so beautiful and so perfect. They have this hidden secret and you have no idea. It's really just scary hours out here. And that's just one of many stories. But think about if this woman wasn't as mature as she was, and wasn't as thoughtful to let me know and to really push back on my advances. We would have ended up doing it. And maybe I would have ended up getting it. Who knows? And then she could have just been like, well, it wasn't for me. And then I got to try to figure out who it was from. And now I'm embarrassed. And I'm calling everybody and trying to figure it out. So you guys got to really consider these things when you guys are being promiscuous. There's a price you pay for that stuff. And you really got to move carefully. That's one of the stories that made it so attractive for me to be in a relationship. Because if I'm being quite honest with you guys, I didn't believe in any woman. Like after my divorce and after I left my ex and whatnot, I was done. Like I was married to the game. I was like, I'm gonna do this in the most productive way possible. I'm gonna work, 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 make as much money as I can, and then the last 2 hours of the day, I'll allocate that time to maybe deal with a woman or a couple or whatever it is. I was never gonna stop. I was never gonna be like, okay, let me settle down and be in a relationship and truly invest in somebody. But those situations changed my mind. They kind of showed me that it's more productive and it's more self-loving for me to slow down, choose somebody, stay at home, and build something solid. I'm not this Mr. Nice guy that just started off with wanting one woman and wanting to give her my heart and all this stuff. Like, I don't believe in losing. I don't believe in taking L's like that. I don't believe in letting life do you. I believe in doing life. So I was going to do it viciously. I was going to do it the way that it made sense for me to do it. But everything changed with the experiences that I had. I was outside for maybe a year or a year and a half. And I mean, the guys that do it until they're 50, like, I get it, but man, it is so dangerous. And maybe it's dangerous for the top end of guys, the guys who women have strong sexual attraction to or have a lot of money and stuff like that, because it really puts the world in your hands. Like, there were points in my life where I could have had somebody different every single day. And I don't say that to brag. It's really kind of a gross mindset to have or a gross understanding to have, but it's true. And with all that power as a man, like, what are you going to do? If you're immature, you're just going to waste your life. You're just going to waste your time and your money. So just think about that story I just told you guys. Think about everything that could have went wrong. I appreciate her for being honest. Even though she wasn't honest up front, I appreciate her for being honest at the end of it. And on the same point, women will want you to come on the first date, air out all your dirty laundry, tell them everything negative about you. They'll tell you to tell me all your red flags, but then they'll be hiding that. They want the right of first refusal. They want to be the ones that gets to tell you, hey, no thank you, sir, have a nice day, because they get power out of that. But they'll be the same people holding the information that's vital to you and would stop you from choosing them. She'll be the same girl and not tell you she's been arrested. She'll be the same girl to not tell you she's had 3 STDs. They're not going to tell you their red flags, but they want you to tell them yours. You mean to tell me you have herpes and you're going on dates with men and you say nothing to them? You just take the money, you take the dinners, and then you see where it goes, and then, if I really like him and I have to tell him, then I will. So you're using men, essentially. You're just taking the favors. You're taking all of the benefits, and right when you're about to have to give something, then you drop that bomb on them. Just a little story time, real quick.